Have you ever felt?
Are you listening? Damn. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. This is Pamela, and you are watching Pam Entertainment TV, where we review movies, television series, and incidents in pop culture to see how those incidents may or may not affect our daily lives. Listen, I wanted to come on here really quickly. Got some more information. This information just keeps popping. Things keep running and rolling and all this kind of stuff. And I want to come back as I can. Listen, these celebrity legal issues, they are just keep coming, they keep coming, and they keep coming. And it was easy for me to go live than it was for me to try to fit this video. If you see the title of this video, Jay-Z Accuser admits to inconsistencies, we are going to go over an article by NBC News. Let's review this article. Please like, comment, and subscribe. If you subscribe, once you subscribe, you'll be open to a plethora of new movies and television series that I have reviewed. And also, you'll be open to a plethora of, not a plethora, you was open to a plethora of that. But you also be able to use these pop culture chats. And this is what we're going over at this time. So let me again share my, I am sharing my screen. So, this is by NBC News, written by Chloe Melez, Janelle Griffith, and Mate Amorbiata. All right. Jay-Z's rape accuser comes forward to NBC News, acknowledges inconsistencies in her allegations. The woman told NBC News she came forward because you should always advocate for yourself. When asked about inconsistencies in her account, she added, "I have made some mistakes." Let's see what she's talking about. So they're in Houston, an Alabama woman who accused Jay-Z and Diddy of assaulting her when she was 13, sat down with NBC News to recount what she called a catastrophic event, a limo ride to a White House, a drink that made her feel woozy, a sexual essay by rap stars that would ruin her life. But the woman and her lawyers also acknowledged that there were some inconsistencies in her account in response to questions from NBC News. Now, you remember on my Jay-Z Fights Back live, I did outline that there was an ex-user that went back and decided to see what was going on at that time. Let me see if I can find my bookmark. I bookmarked it. Let me see if I can find it. Give me one moment. I'm trying to find the bookmark. I don't know why it's doing this. Thank you. All right. So let me come over here and share this tab instead. So if you see this is the Twitter post, X post. Shout out to Blues House who gave me this information. But this is the post that the person went through and decided to go through and pull up, and there was some inconsistencies. And as you can go down through the post, they start running through all the inconsistencies from the initial filing and then the amended filing for Jay-Z, where his name was added. All right. She says, I quote, "I've made some mistakes in recollections of that night." The woman identified as Jane Doe in the lawsuit filed against Jay-Z and Diddy told NBC. The woman said she stands by her allegations overall. The inconsistencies in her account of the incident alleged to happen 24 years ago does not necessarily mean that the allegations are false. Interesting wording. Among the inconsistency, the woman said her father picked her up at the alleged assault, but he says he does not recall that. The woman also claims she spoke to a celebrity at the after party where she said the assault happened, but that celebrity said he was not in New York at the time, and images from that evening showed Jay-Z, whose real name is Sean Carter, and Sean Diddy Combs at different locations than the one the woman described. Let me go back. Although their whereabouts for the entire evening are unclear. So let me go back. That was one of the instances that they said. So as you see in this particular post, it says Diddy went to, I believe, hosted by NSYNC at an after party at Twirl that night as well. Jay-Z was not pictured at that party. Again, at two nightclubs during the timing of that, she would have had been at the house party that she described. And here is another instance where it says here is Lotus. It is now closed. Here is an article for the New York Post describing Lotus, describing it as an opposite of how Jane Doe described the house, saying it doesn't appear to be in the right neighborhood, implying that the neighborhood looked rough, not a gated community.
Are you listening?
Let me see. So they're just pulling up this Beyonce's theories, the Bay theory, pulled up inconsistencies in the report. Don't know if NBC clocked this and put these inconsistencies in, but it was clocked. This incident didn't happen, Carter told the NBC News in a statement Friday, and yet he filed it in a court and doubled down in the press. He added, referring to one of the woman's attorney, Tony Busby, "True justice is coming. We fight for victory, not for victory. This was over before it began. This 1-800 this 1-800 lawyer doesn't realize it yet, but soon." Busby said he's continuing to vet her claims. James Doe case was referred to our firm by another who vetted it prior to sending to us. Sounds a little like a little backpedaling and pussy popping right here, because I thought you in that news that you remember that news hearing that Busby did. They talked about that the ones that they were putting forth that they had vetted fully. But let's continue. Our client remains fiercely adamant that what she has stated is true to the best of her memory. We'll continue to vet her claims and collect corroborating data to the extent it exists. Because we have interrogated her intensely, she has even agreed to submit to a polygraph. I've never had a client suggest that before. In any event, he added, we also do our best to vet each claim made, just as we did in this case. This has been extremely distressing for her to the point that she has experienced seizures and had to seek medical treatment due to stress. The allegations against Carter suggest a seismic shift, potentially linking the rap legend to the alleged behavior laid out in our civil criminal case against Combs. Now, the issue that Jay-Z has is what he has going on in the zeitgeist, because Jay-Z has been linked with a lot of questionable people. Sean Combs, R. Kelly. He's also been linked to possibly, again, this is all alleged, but to have been dating Beyonce when she was like 17 years old, but they didn't come out and say that they were dating until she was like 19 or 20. You have him possibly dating or wanting to date Aaliyah when she was still a teenager, 17, 18 years old. which was also kind of questionable. I know that she went on to date Damian Dash, but which was also questionable because then he started doing tours and things like that with R. Kelly, knowing that R. Kelly had been accused, and at that point, it had shown that he had married Aaliyah at 15 when she was 15, and that marriage had to be annulled because she was underage. So that was back way back when in the 90s when we understood and knew that we didn't have social media like that then, but back in the 90s that information was coming out. He also is contending with the fact that he has a young man that says that he is his father. I think the young man is named Rymir Saddlesworth, who has been saying that Jay-Z is purported to be his father, but Jay-Z is refusing to take uh, the DNA test. And this has been going on since what, 2012? And if that is true, Jay-Z does not want it to come out because that means that that young man's mom at the time that she got pregnant was 15, in which she gave birth at 16. So he has a lot of questionable events going around him now. No one can pinpoint and say that these things are true. However, there's a lot of stuff washing around him. There's a lot of stuff. There's reports again, allegedly, that he has a couple. He has about 3 children. They made this big instance a while back that you remember Free and AJ. They had talked about allegedly that a child of hers is his. They've also talked about another child that's a daughter that's supposed to be his. So there's supposed to be at least 2 to 3 children running around here that are Jay-Z's that they're saying that he is not wanting to claim, because then it's going to be in question as the age of the mothers of the children. So let's continue. Carter's attorney, Alex Spiro, said, "It is stunning that a lawyer would not only file such a serious complaint without proper vetting, but would make things worse by further peddling this false story in the press. We are asking the courts to dismiss this frivolous case today, and will take up the matter of additional discipline for Mr. Busby and all the lawyers that filed the complaint." Combs' attorneys call the suit a shameful money grab. Busby has filed more than 20 lawsuits against Combs. The lawsuit was originally filed in October in the Southern District of New York, listing Combs as a defendant, and it was refiled on Sunday, naming Carter as another defendant, because that particular lawsuit has at least, it said it had 10 individuals and up to 10 companies that were involved. And so we knew that they had said that Sean Combs was celebrity A. NBC News traveled to Houston to interview the woman who declined to be identified at her attorney's office earlier this week. "You should always fight for what happens to you," she said about why she's going public with her accusations now. "You should always advocate for yourself and be a voice for yourself. You should never let what somebody else did ruin or run your life. I just hope I can give others the strength to come forward like I came forward." The woman, who is now 38, told NBC News she was living in Rochester, New York in 2000 and attended the VMAs, was on her bucket list at 13. It was like, "Oh my," and they quote her, "Oh my gosh, one of those things I've got to do." She said she snuck out a window to evade her parents.
Are you listening? Damn.
Hold on. Y'all, that is a 5 hour, if you're driving in the car, that's a 5 hour drive or a 7 hour ride on the Greyhound bus, or an hour and 20 minutes by flight. That's 335 miles. I'm a little perplexed. I'm a little perplexed at this point. That you know, when people are adamant about doing stuff, they're going to be able to do something. But I made the assumption that she lived in the New York City area. I didn't realize that she lived in Rochester, New York, and she went all the way down to the city, New York City. And according to, just so that you all, don't look to see that I'm telling tales. You see it right here. You see it. It's 335 miles. 335 miles. Wow. She snuck out a window to evade her parents. A friend drove her to Radio City Music Hall in New York City, she said in the lawsuit. People thronged into viewing areas outside the venue, which was decked out for the awards. Crowds roared when J-Lo arrived. Eminem performed on the street. She didn't have a ticket and said in the suit she watched some of the shows on the Jumbotron outside. She also started chatting up limo drivers. I'm trying to get in to try to stay back and get into an after party and get invited in and meet some celebrities, she told NBC. One limo driver said he worked for Combs and that she fit what Diddy was looking for. After about 20 minutes in the limo, she said in the suit, she arrived at a large white residence with a gated U-shaped driveway. She said in the suit she signed a document that she didn't read. Inside, she told NBC's News, I'm talking to like Fred Durst, Benji Madden about his tattoo because, about his tattoo was the Last Supper because I have a religious background. So it was just something to talk about. Okay, so she's named people at this particular party. After accepting a drink from a waitress, she told NBC News, I started feeling funny. I tried looking for a place to lay down. She found an empty room with a bed in it, and she said in the suit, soon after, Combs and Carter and a woman entered the room. You're ready to party, Combs said, according to the suit. Both Combs and Carter essayed, and she said, Jay-Z comes over, holds me down. She says, I start trying to push away. He puts his hand over my mouth, tells me to stop, to cut the SHIT, and then he R's her. And she says he has her overpowered. Afterwards, she said in the suit, she managed to flee the house and run to a gas station. She says, I was upset, and the person at the gas station can tell that I was obviously upset, and she let me use the phone. I called my dad because he was the only person I trust at the time. I told him I messed up and I needed a ride home, she told NBC News. We rode home in high silence. He didn't ask me what happened. He didn't ask me what I did or where I was. So he came down 5 hours.
Are you listening?
She said she was the only person that I could trust at the time. So it sounds like he was one going to ask her no questions or say anything. And apparently that's what he did. So he drove again, y'all. Let's look at this. 5 hours and 19 minutes to Radio City Music Hall. At the least. That's upstate New York all the way down to New York City. 5 hours and 19 minutes. She told NBC News she never told anyone about the alleged assault or wrote it down in a diary. Even if somebody found out, who was going to believe me? I mean, it was the word of two celebrities against mine. The years after were hard, she said. I got severely depressed. I withdrew completely. My grades started slipping, and she dropped out of school. She experienced homelessness, she said, and at one point suffered a head injury. She and her father also said she was SA'd later in life. She now has two children, a son and a daughter. She served less than a year in the Army National Guard and left with the rank of private. She got her high school diploma and got her Christian counseling certification so that I can help people who have gone through what I've gone through. She also said she has applied behavior analysis certification so she can help people with autism, which she says she has. There are so little resources to moms that don't have proper amount of income. Uh, let's get to this. There are some inconsistencies in her story about that night. Her father told NBC News that he does not recall picking her up after the alleged attack, casting doubt on a key detail in her lawsuit. According to their address at the time, her father would have driven more than 4 hours from their home to pick her up. I feel like I would have remembered that, and I don't. He said in an interview Thursday, I have a lot going on, but I mean, that something would definitely stick out in my mind. The woman's father, who said he learned of the alleged assault this week, added that he did remember once picking her up in the middle of the night, but he said it was a local drive. Asked about her father's account on a follow up interview on Friday, the woman said she stood by her claim that he picked her up and that it's possible he has misremembered. There are a lot of things. Now, listen, Dad says he does not remember driving 5 hours because that would have been 10 hours. He does not remember driving 5 hours there and 5 hours back to pick her up. He remembers it to be a local ride. So that is interesting. There are a lot of things, and this stuff that we argue about constantly, something he said or did back in New York around that time period, he just doesn't remember, she said. It actually causes a lot of fights sometimes in the household. Regarding her father's recollection, Busby told NBC News, we agree he states he doesn't remember. His daughter explains that he was in no state to remember during that point in time due to personal issue he was having then. We are talking about a time frame more than 20 years ago. What kind of issues he was having? This is going to be interesting. What kind of issues was he having? Drug, alcoholism, depression, what kind of issues he was having? Because all these things are going to play out in a court of law. The woman also told NBC News she spoke with musician Benji Madden at the after party, but a representative from Madden confirmed that neither Benji nor his brother Joel attended the 2000 BMAs and that they were on tour in the Midwest at the time. The woman did not accuse the brothers of any wrongdoing. In a minute.
Are you listening?
Honestly, what is the clearest is what happened to me and the route I took to what happened to me. Not all of the faces there are as clear. The woman said in Friday's follow up interview, so I have made some mistakes. I may have made mistakes in identifying. Now, she said earlier that she was talking to the Benji guy about his tattoo. Y'all, this is because I'm only reporting it. Don't take my it's just some doubts going on. I'm just reporting what they're saying. You know. Hey, Cornelius. I'm just reporting what I'm seeing here, and what I'm seeing here is getting to be a little it's not looking good for her, particularly when you have to when the key people who you say that you saw at this party are telling you that they were on tour. They were on tour. Hmm. Hmm. Let's go on, y'all. Let's continue. The woman also could not provide further information about the after party she said she attended. Professional images reviewed by NBC News show Combs and Carter were among the celebrities who attended a VMA's party after party at the Lotus nightclub in New York. It's not clear what time those images were taken or if Combs and Carter attended any other after parties. The building that housed Lotus, now closed, does not match the description of the house the woman described in the lawsuit. I didn't know exactly where we were going or even how long it took, the woman said. When asked Tuesday where she thought she was taken that night, she added that she had guessed about the length of time of trip that had taken in the lawsuit. Busby said, "We have attempted to confirm the correct location." That's key. That is one of the first things you had to do. You should have detectives working for your agency that will go and make a run from Radio City Music Hall, going 20 minutes, I don't know, north, going 20 minutes south, going 20 minutes east, going 20 minutes west, even 30 or 40 minutes, so that you can find or look for that location where there are houses with a U-shaped driveway. Busby says, "We have attempted to confirm the correct location. We have never suggested the location was the Lotus Club. Our client has been very specific and detailed about the description of the venue she says she was taken to, and she has never stated it was the Lotus Club." He added, "We won't speculate on whether there was an after party, an after party, because again, she doesn't know that." Also, among the woman's allegations that could not be corroborated is how she made it to New York City that night. One of her attorneys provided NBC News with the name and birth date of the friend she said drove her, who would have been 20 at the time. That person appears to have since passed away. NBC News attempts to reach the person's relatives was unsuccessful. What are y'all thinking? Y'all let me know down in the comments, what are y'all thinking? Because this is getting to be too much. This is getting to be too much. Because if they can't pinpoint, first you've got a lot of inconsistency. The people who you said was at that party and who's the Last Supper tattoo you looked at said they were on tour. Your dad said he doesn't remember picking you up from no New York City, New York, from Rochester. Because again, that would be a 5.5 hour drive. Number three, Busby, the attorney, they have not even vetted to find that place where, or the location of where you said that you were taken. This is getting messy. This is getting really, really messy. Because we saw that there was some inconsistency on the one male John Doe, where there were inconsistencies about the year, there was inconsistencies about the place. These types of lawsuits, you have to dot your I's and cross your T's, because you have to think about whether or not that the people will be willing to go to court. A lot of times people settle because they don't want all this stuff out here in the community, so to speak. But even then, you have to have enough information that you have a bigger bargaining chip. And right now, I'm not seeing where the Busby law firm has the biggest bargaining chip, because now you have two of your lawsuits that show inconsistencies. I don't know, y'all. I don't know. Again, here's the thing. Jay-Z, from what people are saying out here in the community, allegedly, He's got a lot of things going on. You remember I said at the beginning of this broadcast, there's still something going on up there in the state of New Jersey with the young man who's saying that Jay-Z is his father. And there's a lot of legal inconsistencies in that particular case, or some legal fumblings and stuff like that. And then plus the fact he has been tied to Foxy Brown, Aaliyah, Beyonce when they were teenagers and he was a grown man. Birds of a feather flock together until you do know better. You fly left. Anyway, y'all. Tell me what y'all think about this. Tell me what you think about these new revelations going on within this case. I think a lot of stuff has been happening over the past week. Flip flops from one side to another. We see that NBC is doing their due diligence, finding the inconsistencies and reporting it. So let's see what's going on. Y'all leave it down in the comments. Do you think that this is going to be a case that Jay-Z gets released from or dismissed from? Do you think the attorney Busby has something else up his sleeve? Y'all let me know down in the comments. All right, people, we do this every week. Please like, comment, and subscribe. Y'all, please tell a friend, tell a kin, tell a coworker, tell that helper that you cannot stand that I'm over here making these videos, child. And as always, people, bye-bye.